Never miss an episode of Create, Build, and Manage Daily again. Subscribe to our podcast and listen on the go.
Do you find yourself looking for a new job or wanting to find something new for 2023? Dr. Angela Booth is the founder and CEO of Morningstar Management, LLC, and is in the studio to give us some tips. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm
Absolutely.
glad to be here.
First of all, Army vet, thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you.
Once in the Army, always in the Army, right?
There we go.
Talk about what you offer your clients.
Okay, what I do is I provide actually a full service resume consultation. I help them with their transition. Those are transitioning from military to civilian. Then I also help them with interviewing skills because, after you've been in there for about maybe 10, 20 years, you haven't done an interview in a while. And 95% of being successful in an interview is being able to be confident. So we do mock interview trainings. I also do salary negotiation because sometimes they tell our veterans that they have to come into the GS system at a step 1, but some of them have great extreme skills that can dictate them coming in at a higher step than the 1. So I do salary negotiation. We review those things. And I just kind of provide those. And then I also make sure that they know that the resume is the most important part. That's the most important part. Once we can get that right, then we're good to go.
Yeah, I hear that a lot, how key that resume is, because it really is that first impression.
Yeah.
So what are some resume tips? Give us 1 or 2 tips tonight for resume, maybe something we've never thought of that needs to be included, or something we've thought of that we need to not include anymore.
Yeah, well, for sure, we always start at the top. You will be amazed at how many people forget to put all their contact information, or they don't verify their confirmation. They have an old email or an old phone number.
Wow.
And you can't get a job like that. They're not even going to be able to contact you. One of the things that's changed over the past few years is that they used to put objective on your resume. This is my objective. We don't do that anymore. Now we do a career summary. And what a career summary is just a short 3 or 4 sentences of who you are and what you've done. That is so critical today because actually you only have like 8 to 15 seconds for the person to actually read your resume. And so you need that career summary so that it entices them to, oh, wow, okay, this is cool. Let me continue to read it. So those are some things we do now. We also highlight their skills. Even USA Jobs said we should highlight the major skills on the first 1/4 of the page. Page 1, the first 1/4 of that, the first quarter of that page should be all your top skills. So if you've got a clearance, we put that in bold. We normally put, if you're an HR professional, whatever your skill sets are, we put that in bold. Anything to help the managers see your information as quickly as possible.
I think that's great perspective because if I work on my resume, I may spend 4 hours on my resume and I read it and read it and read it. But the person that's looking to hire me is reading hundreds of resumes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And because of that, I was HR also. After I retired from the Army, I worked in the Department of VA as HR. And so that's what we saw. We saw that some of the resumes, formatting is so important because if your resume is not clear, if it's all jumbled up, they're not going to read it. If your resume is 12 pages, they're not going to read it. They're just not going to do that, And so, and they don't want to look for the information. The HR professional does not want to have to look for the information. If you're an IT person, we put your education and your certifications up front. because they need to see that. They're not going to go all the way to the end of the resume. And for an IT professional, those things are what's critical.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So based on what your skill sets are and the job that you're going after, we format the resume to make sure that, again, it's just easy for the HR professional to see your skills and be able to pass you on to the manager.
I'm going to put your website up for those who are watching BizTV tonight. It is morningstar-management.com. llc.business.site. And we also have that on the bottom of the screen if you're watching us tonight, where you can go and get that information. What about preparing for the interview? What is the one thing that people don't think about in preparation for that job interview?
The first question, tell me a little about yourself. I always tell people when we're doing mock interviews, when they ask you that, they don't want to know your personal history. They don't even really want to know about previous positions. What they want to know is something that you can tell them that's not included on your resume that makes you a perfect fit for that position.
There you
Period.
go. And another opportunity to stand out with the other candidates.
Exactly. And so some of the things you need to do in preparation for that is you need to go to the company website, make sure you're doing your due diligence. Look on there and see if there's something where you know that your skills fit, something that you've read on the company website. And then when they ask you that question, you can bring that up. It may not be on your resume, but it gives them a little extra to think about.
I could tell you, having been the person interviewing people, when they know our mission statement and they're quoting the mission statement, definitely gets my attention. How do you stay on top of all the different changes in employment? There's got to be a ton of research and education with your work.
Yeah, absolutely. There's resume training for the government. And so I take that whenever they're offering any kind of training, I take that. There are various companies and they do the research. They do all the research. They go out, they ask. As a matter of fact, there's a format for 2021 and there was a new resume format for 2022. And so I make sure that I'm current with all of that because they want to know what the managers are looking for. And I want to know that too, because I'm writing people's resume with the end goal in mind. And the end goal is that a human person, after you've gone through the ATS and, all of the computer systems, the end goal is that an HR professional and then a manager will get to read your resume.
Got about 30 seconds. Current employment environment, do you feel confident there are jobs out there for people?
Oh, they are. And, there are more jobs now than ever before because new jobs are being created because of technology, because of everything that's happened with COVID. There are amazing levels of jobs out there.
That's good. Good advice. Thank you so much for coming by. That website, again, if you're listening to the podcast, I'm going to give it to you. It's morningstar-management-llc.business.site. That's where you'll find Dr. Angela Booth, and she would love to have a conversation with you and walk you through your resume, help you with your interview process. Stick around. This is Create, Build, and Manage Daily.